We are Sonation, and we are revolutionizing the way that people make music. We are the only technology that can adapt an audio track to a person's playing in real time. So to get into what this means, imagine a young kid who's learning how to play basketball. His dream is to be LeBron James and play on a really great team. But imagine that somehow in this world, in order to play with just 4 other people for 1 hour, it costs $200. No children would ever get to play basketball on a team. They would never get to learn that experience or even have fun and really have that exhilarating feeling of playing on a great team. Unfortunately, this is the reality for 200 million musicians around the world, and it's been this way for centuries. Every musician's dream is to play in a rich world of sound, surrounded by a big orchestra, and just being a star after all their hard work on a piece of music. And all of their studies and their career are focused on getting to this dream. But throughout history, 99% of them have never been able to reach this dream because it's very difficult and it's very costly. It costs over $50 an hour just to hire one musician to play with you, let alone an entire orchestra. So until today, most technology in the music space has been innovating in distribution, in recording, and in music listening. But very little technological innovation has actually touched the process of music playing. But what Sonation does is, as I mentioned before, we take an audio track and we adapt it to your expression as you're playing. So every piece of music it really varies from individual to individual, the way that you want to play it. If you want to breathe a little bit more, you want to slow down or speed up, play it in your style and really express yourself. And our technology is the only type that frees you to do that. So my co-founder Paul is going to now introduce our musician for tonight and do a demo.
Hi, I'm Paul. This is Nicholas Kitchen, a professor of violin at the Conservatory, first violinist of the Borromeo String Quartet. And we'll connect to your computers first. We had a problem in demos before where people didn't believe it. But you must have practiced playing with that track really well, so I made this sign, and I will give it to whoever would like to control the proceedings. No one wants to do it, that's sad. All right, when he's playing, indicate. Okay, we gotta go a little closer. I'm going to do a brief test to make sure the orchestra is loud enough. We're about a block away. I noticed. Too loud. Alternate. Block away from harmonics, but a world away. Thank you. Wow. Thanks. This guy. So, any questions? Yes.
So what's displayed on the screen while he's playing?
Oh, whatever he wants to look at. So, tell him what you.
Well, we weren't quite sure what we were going to show now. We actually, if we had just a little more time to set up, I would have actually hooked in the display and I would have showed you the orchestral score, which is what I'm looking at. So over here in Acrobat, I'm reading the orchestral. I know you can't see it really from there, but that's the solo violin part, and that's all the parts of the orchestra. And I'm turning it into this foot pedal. That happens to be the way I and our project read music all the time. So it's kind of fun how these two things kind of add each other. And of course, this will easily work as the cadenza works in the background.
So he's using Acrobat to read music. What's taking in his sound and changing the speed of the playback?
Our app Cadenza.
Okay.
So the microphone on the Mac is picking that up. And it's a very simple algorithm. It knows what he's playing, first of all. So we map what's coming into a known quantity. And it knows the pitch that he's played, it knows what the next one is supposed to be, and it knows the time since the last one. So these 3 points of information are calculated continuously on the loop. All we need to know is the time of the very next event. That's all we care about. That makes it, it spikes about 10% of CPU to be able to do this. All right, more from you, and then I'm going to pick another guy.
So then are you planning to sell full music scores with the orchestra with it, or have people enter in their own recordings and market their own part, or how does that work?
Yes, we'll do both of those things. So right now it's available in the Mac App Store. It's a free app. It's kind of like the iTunes model. You pay for pieces in-app purchase. Play a piece of music if you buy that. But we're building a web-based way for you to upload your own audio and create a playable version that's not frozen like a karaoke track, but using this adaptive technology. Yes?
Is the music selection limited to classical music, or is also opera music?
Oh, good question. It's stylistically independent. The computer doesn't know what kind of music you're playing. We're working now on voice. There are 53 million people in the US alone who identify themselves as vocalists. And piano will be also there. But yes, some styles of music, electronic dance music, no one cares if you can speed up or slow down. That's not the point. Right? Fortunately, that's not a very large set of music in the known universe of musics. Fortunately, just for my own personal sanity. But yes, so jazz, folk, pop music, anthemic kind of ballad type of music where you want to take time in certain spots to express yourself. The whole point of this is so that you can have your own voice free. You're not a slave to the technology, rather it's the other way around. It's a slave to you. Yes?
When you said voice, do you mean tracking the voice, or do you mean oral accompaniment?
I meant tracking a single voice, but we're also working on having this accompany choirs. So some choir that can't afford an orchestra to accompany their concert could use this. Yes?
So you already have a usable version of the app. What are the next steps in terms of product development?
Product development. Well, it's going to come out on iOS in November, and then roll it out to different instruments and musical genres. We want to build a version of this that will go in the car. A lot of people sing in cars. But then, of course, it can extend beyond music. Any time-based media, so film production, for example, where you have the problem of having to synchronize one thing to another, perhaps in real time, but maybe not, but where the synchronization is not just linear, like you you need to have something 10% shorter or faster. That can be done now already. But if you need a variable timing throughout that span based on events that happen in it at the push of a button, that's a product that we're going to develop for film editors, for example, or game developers.
This is wonderful because this was just introduced to me recently, and I just think it's amazing. But yesterday I taught for a number of hours at the New England Conservatory, and I actually used it in about half of the lessons. And it was really amazing. One of my students was playing Mozart concerto, and I had him play it through 3 times with the orchestra, because clearly what he was doing musically didn't really make sense with what the accompaniment would have been. And instead of me explaining that in words, I just had him try it. And he immediately, not only got very excited, but he figured out what was going on. Now, the crazy thing is, at that moment, he was also looking at Mozart's manuscript in PDF form of the same piece of the full score. So as far as I'm concerned, what this is going to open up, another student played Brahms concerto, the same things happened, where the machine could understand its timing, how it made sense, how it made the orchestra sound good, what the details of the orchestration are. All of this becomes extremely vivid to someone who's using it, and especially if they combine the various tools around it. It's really an unbelievable tool. So thank you.
Thanks for that sales pitch. I know we're out of time probably, but just one more thing. I really would love to meet anyone who would like to be a part of helping us go forward, especially in iOS development. Okay? Any other questions? We have time. Yes?
I just have a question. What if you're not at that level where you can keep up and, you're screwing up notes?
That's a very good question. What if you're not good enough to play a concerto or even be able to, sorry, this yes, right now it only works really if you know what you're doing musically. If you're playing slow or fast because you're unable to physically do something, or you're new at it and you're having trouble, it will follow you, but that's probably not what you really want. So this is not really geared to beginners yet. But our business strategy is purposely to start with people who are amazing at what they do, establish the amazingness of what it does, and the prestige of that, so that we can then tamp down and scale down in a way, sensitivity, which I think is an easier direction to go in than the other way. But it's not there yet.
Join Boston New Technology Meetup. Sponsor an event or a venue. Present your idea and attend to network with Boston's brightest. Details are at www.bostonnewtech.org and in the video description.